Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Restricted Republic. My name is Justice Knight. I can't thank you enough for being here. Just so you're aware, the Washington Post, it appears the government front publication arm, has launched expanded guidance or released or reviewing or predetermining expanded guidance on reopening society. Actually, the guidance comes from the CDC. 17 pages of Orwellian freak show that we promised was going to happen. Before we go any further, if you haven't subscribed to me here on YouTube, I certainly hope you will. Make sure your bell is checked. If not, you will not be alerted to upcoming broadcasts. Also, if you haven't joined us at Restricted Republic, right now we're still offering 1 month for free, a shorter time remaining on that offer. So please, if you haven't, take us up on it. Enjoy it because there is so much to cover, including today. Sharp debate is reported over guidelines for worship services and restaurants in this expanded guidance coming after the opening, the never reopening of America Again plan. No, this is new guidance that is delineated right here. 17 pages of things that, as we promised you, unfortunately, are now coming true. There are certain consistencies within this entire plan. We'll cover those first. Social distancing remains enacted throughout every stage. It makes no difference if it's phase 1 or phase 3, as we told you would happen. And actually, let's go to where it really gets to be a freak show. This is interim guidance for school and day camps. I'll zoom this in so you can read it a little better. In all phases, you must protect yourself, and we must keep those at higher risk for severe illness protected, which we have concurred with since the very beginning, except this should be defined to only those who have a higher risk for severe illness, but that's not what they want, because this is the totalitarian state now. This isn't a free state anymore. No matter what anybody tells you, we no longer live in a free society. There is a new law now, and that law is called COVID. COVID is the new great law of the land, dictating everything. But I digress. We're going to go into safe hygiene practices as they've asked for since the very beginning. Nothing has changed there. Wash your hands. But what they have added and is now going full force, teach and reinforce use of cloth face coverings amongst all staff. So get used to seeing it. That isn't going away along with physical distancing. Make sure we clean, we disinfect, then we ventilate. And we're not going to cover these in each of the phases any further. Cancel. All field trips are gone. All intergroup events are gone. All extracurricular activities are gone in phase 1 and 2. Restrict mixing between groups. We're going to keep one group of children together, confined. That group will remain. What they're saying here is almost with one teacher or one volunteer. So any interchange or exchange of information among students, a bigger population and things we all love during school, those days are gone, including cafeteria. You want to go to lunch? No more. You'll be eating lunch in your classroom. This is like those old black and white movies where everybody's sitting in their seat and they're afraid to get up because they've been isolated under this new totalitarian regime of suppression. And this is the world now we live in, and unfortunately our children are now living in. Phase 3. Consider keeping classes together to include the same group of children, just reinforcing what I just told you. Staggering arrival and drop-off times or locations. Remember what we warned that the school day was going to become very, very long and ominous? Well, that is coming true because we can't have anybody, talking to each other or seeing each other in this plan. Limit sharing, no sharing. Food is offered at an event, has to be pre-packaged. Avoid sharing electronic devices, toys, books, or other games. So basically, children, don't be children. There's the recommendation so far of our CDC. But here's the terrifying part I think you all need to understand, because this is also consistent throughout every section of this document. 17 pages. Luckily, we're already on 6 because I'm trying to skim this as fast as I can. Closing. I'm going to go full screen so you can review this with me. Check state and local health department notices daily about transmission in the area and adjust operations accordingly. In the event a person diagnosed with COVID-19 is determined to have been in the building and poses a risk to the community, programs may consider closing for a short time to disinfect. Because the closing is never going to stop. This is not a reopening plan. It's a partial reopening so that you feel somewhat free, but in actuality, you're not free any longer. We no longer live in a free society. Now we're going to skip over some of these communities of faith. You could imagine this is highly contested because now we're going to tell religion how that they should act, that they also need to maintain social distancing, limit the size of gatherings in accordance with guidance and directives of state and local authorities. Church and state are now completely commingled to the new law of COVID. Welcome to the new laws of COVID. Considering having a soloist or strictly limiting the number of choir members and keep at least 6 feet apart between all individuals. Consider having clergy hold virtual visits. I'll make this larger again. I apologize. Instead of in homes or in the hospital, except for certain compassionate care situations. The state telling the church how to run. This is going to ignite a firestorm. And rightfully it should. Our freedoms are gone. Our freedoms are gone. Our freedoms are gone. This is the COVID takeover. But we'll go to the next phase. Oh, wait. Down in the bottom here, under phase 1 and 3. In the event a person diagnosed with COVID-19 is determined to have been in a building and poses a risk, it is strongly suggested to close, then properly clean and disinfect. Properly clean, disinfect, and close, and close, and close. Every time there's a case of COVID-19, close. Another case, close. Are you starting to get the gist of what this guidance is about? Luckily, we're at page 10. Interim guidance for employers with vulnerable workers, and they go through how to reopen your business, same hygiene practices, limit travel, modify community. Now, this has a bigger implication because obviously if you're limiting travel and you're limiting interaction, you're limiting spend, but we won't go that far in this broadcast. I'm going to keep it very confined to this one. Interim guidance for restaurants and bars. This is a joke. Phase 1, bars remain closed and restaurant service shall remain limited to drive-through, curbside takeout, or delivery. Oh, you thought phase 1 you were going to be able to open your restaurant? No. That won't have any dire economic impact whatsoever. Not at all. Phase 2, bars may open with limited capacity because people go to bars to have limited capacity. Makes a lot of sense. Nobody wants to socialize or talk to one another. Of course, that's not what they want. And seating capacity that allows for social distancing. Bars may open with increased standing room occupancy on phase 3 that allows for social distancing. Are these people morons who write this stuff that actually believe that any of this is even remotely enforceable? It's a joke when you read some of these government documents. Restaurants may operate while maintaining social distancing, which changes the entire economic dynamic of the restaurant business, which changes the food supply, which is going to put more businesses that we have been warning are going to go out of business because they can't operate under that model. It doesn't work. The economics don't work. The new COVID law will tear down everything. It is destroying society. We've let it consume us, and we're doing nothing to stop it. But we'll go a little bit further. We'll go to the final step. I don't even know if I want to at this point. But nonetheless, be prepared to close for a few days if there is a case of COVID-19 in the establishment. Be prepared to close. Be prepared to close. Rolling closures, rolling lockdowns will continue. Rolling lockdowns. Freedom's gone. You can't exist. You can't exist free when you don't know what tomorrow will hold. It doesn't work. That's not the way the country was built. That's not the way freedom was built. But we'll continue to mass transit. You know what? Honestly, it makes no difference. It makes absolutely zero difference at this point. Because if you don't see the writing on the wall at this point, there's not much that's going to help you. Because they are moving full force to obeying the new God little g of COVID, letting it dictate all our laws. For those of you who said President Trump is no longer in charge, you're right. COVID is now in charge. COVID is in charge of everything, and the sheeple continue to allow that to happen. And they've done nothing to change it, but we need to. And here's what I'm going to ask of my audience here. You want to know what you can do? Be a restricted first responder. Be the first responder on Twitter. Be the first responder on Facebook. Be the first responder on every post. Make sure that you are as loud, and in some would say obnoxious, as the liberal globalist left, who have taken over media, consumed everything, and that is what our younger generations are reading and listening. So if we don't rise up to that, If we don't exceed that expectation, if we don't match that expectation, they will continue to win. And let this be proof. Everything we've predicted is right here before your eyes. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I certainly hope you will. I beg and implore you to. Please make sure the bell is checked so you're notified of new videos, and get over to Restricted. Take us up on the free month. You are going to be amazed. Today, I think we're going to cover, or I'm going to cover into what the food supply and what's about to happen to it. And that, my friends, is extremely, unfortunately dire and very necessary news. Godspeed and God bless. Until next time, Justice Knight, signing out.